Okay, we're going to look at the stage setup. This is one of the problem areas that we have a lot of times where we try and get things, if things get torn down, that we get everything back where it was. We have the console piano here at an angle. This is a digital piano, of course, it's not a real piano, and so it's plugged in. It's at an angle. Now, if you will see that we have a monitor speaker, a cube monitor that is used for the piano. Okay? That's the basic setup for that. And what's important, each of these monitors, I have them marked here. This says keys. It says number 1. So somehow they get mixed up. Make sure that number 1 is the keys. It gets put back on this piano. Someone recently put this on the floor. Don't do that. That's a bad idea. You're asking for feedback. This is an ideal place to place it right here on top. And then what happens is channel 1 on all these monitors is the mic. This controls the volume of the microphone that is plugged into the station that we're at. The number 2 position controls the instrument, in this case, this keyboard. We turn this keyboard up and down through this speaker here, right here. And then here, of course, is the power. It turns it on. And this is the master that turns it up even louder. This is the high and low. Your best bet is to keep these at the 12 o'clock position. A little higher if you want to sweeten it up a little bit. But it's important that you make this loud enough, because this is where you want to hear most of your keyboard coming out of, not out of this piano. Unfortunately, this particular digital piano has speakers in it. So we have a problem as far as the volume of that. This is where we really want to watch the output volume of the piano. That is on this volume control right here. This one next to it has nothing to do with this. This is the overall loudness of the piano. Now, some people push this all the way up. Please don't do that, because now you made the speakers in this piano too loud for the room. This piano can't even be in the speaker system because it's too loud. Keep it down to about halfway, and that way you still get a little bit of sound out of here, and it's not too much for the room that we can put the piano in the main PA speakers. Then you may say, wow, I can't hear my piano enough now. But that's when you go over to the cube speaker, okay, the monitor sitting on top of the piano, and go to keys on channel 2 and turn it up till you're happy, okay? That's how you control your piano volume. We want to keep the main output of those speakers down that are in the piano because they're too loud for the room. And then the sound person cannot turn you down or adjust it. Each station on this stage is like the piano station, acoustic guitar station. It's an area that that instrument is located at, and it's associated equipment. I have assigned a cube monitor, as I showed you earlier, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. There's 4 of them. And particular station. I've also assigned a mic stand to each station. This particular one is vocal 1. It has a label on it, so put it with the piano. Don't mix it up, okay? So that goes with here. And then as far as the location of the piano, we want to look at proximity here. I have the piano itself at an angle. The reason it's at an angle is so that the person playing can view the rest of the musicians down on the rest of the stage. Now, this is ideal for a worship team setup. It may not be ideal if you're setting up for a production or something. That's fine, but I advise try not to move this piano too much because it's hard on the legs and it could damage it. So when you're putting it back or trying to get it in the right position, take a look down at the floor right now. There are 2 floor boxes right here. So if you see that leg of the piano is approximately between the 2 of them, out about 6 inches or so. Okay, we're going to look at the intricate setup of the piano station. There is the main keyboard. See that? Keys. That is a 1/4-inch cable. Now that is plugged into, it gets unplugged, auxiliary out, left and right. Auxiliary out, left and right, says keys. Okay? Now that plug goes over. Sounds like we got a bad connection there as it is. That one goes over into this conglomerate of a direct box, as you can see that I've got here. I've got all this stuff tied together. And of course, this AC here, the piano's plugged into it. This is a little light for the illumination of music. And then we got the piano plugged in. We got the cube monitor plugged in as well. But all this goes together. If you notice, I have all these wires attached together so that you can actually unplug everything and carry it away together. And if you notice, this is the DI for the keys, okay? And this cable says keys. It goes over to the box, which we'll look at in a minute, marked keyboards. And then you'll see there's two cables right here. I got them tied together. The one is the keyboard cable we just looked at that plugs the keyboard in the back, left and right. The other yellow one says keys on as well. That runs to the cube monitor into channel 2. Now let's look up in the cube monitor for a second. And if we see, here's the keyboard, keys. We see that's coming from that DI box. So we're going to plug it right in the keys, left mono. Now you see, if we leave the stuff plugged in, which I advise, and you don't have to go through all this, but even if it gets unplugged, you should be able to find where everything goes. Now that concerns the keyboard, but at the same time, I've also incorporated Vocal 1, so that's with this station. So you can see here's Vocal 1's plug. This is plugging the microphone to the piano into the Vocal 1 channel. See? They match. And it's attached, and that goes down. As we look again on the floor here, that's going to go into this splitter. This is a mic splitter, okay? So what's happened here, we plugged the microphone cable. This cable's going to the microphone, and then we split it out two ways. One of these goes up to the keyboard monitor. The other goes over to the box going back to the board. So, but this is all hooked together. You shouldn't have to take any of this apart. You can just disconnect it out of the box, which we'll see in a minute, and then just plug the basic back in. So let's go over to the actual floor box on the stage. On this stage, there are 3 floor boxes. This is one of the 3. Now, this doesn't have many things in it right now. That's the way we're set up. But here's our Vocal 1. And if you could see this side, you could see it says Vocal 1 right here, and then the plug goes right in. And then here we see is the keyboards. It says keys, and then the cord says keys. You just plug it right in. Very simple. And then after you plug it in, these boxes are designed. Make sure you do not pinch the wires, but the wires fit through there so that you can shut it, and then you can tramp on it. And as well, the electric box that's next to it, that does have an attachment here, and that way you can shut it flat, and this cord goes over to that particular power strip.